Dear listeners, welcome once again to our podcast. This is season two of our podcast where we're going ahead and interviewing the different heroes in our community. We believe that everyone has some talent to share, everyone has some realization in spiritual life that we can all learn from, we can all grow from, and help each other to advance spiritually in this wonderful process of Bhakti Yoga. Today, I'm very excited to have with us Dineshvara Krishna Das, who is the head of our Bhakti Yoga Society, or where our outreach program in the different campuses around Johannesburg. And I'm really excited to have you today, Dineshvara Prabhu. Welcome.
Hare Krishna, dear Vivo Chaitanya Prabhu. It's an absolute pleasure to get your association and have a discussion with you this morning regarding the Bhakti Yoga Society and outreach preaching in Johannesburg.
Wow, Dineshwar, it's an honor for me to be having you today, and thank you so much for taking time from your very busy schedule. You engage in so much of services, so thank you for being here today. Dineshwar Prabhu, how did it all begin for you? How did your spiritual journey begin?
Well, I was in South Africa working as a financial advisor for Sanlam during the early 2000s, and somehow the other, I actually felt that I felt restricted, and I felt very closed living in South Africa. And I felt that I needed to move to another country to actually open up as an individual, open up my mind, and look for new opportunities. The opportunity arose where in the UK, we being part of the Commonwealth, we could get the working holiday visas in the UK. So I applied and I got the visa. So I decided, okay, let's give it an opportunity and let's try out a new place, new surroundings, meeting new people. Because I had heard that, the UK is very multicultural and it's a very open society. So I resigned from work, packed my bags, booked my air ticket, and headed off to the UK in 2003, December. When I got to the UK, it was pretty much midwinter, January of, it was actually December 2003. Midwinter, freezing cold. I had booked accommodation where I was living with 7 other people in a small room. And as I kind of ventured out, started looking for a job and getting to know the place and the people, I actually felt that this was a pretty degraded place. And meeting people, conversing with them, having different discussions, I felt that actually I had left South Africa looking for something better. Sometimes they say the grass is greener on the other side. But I began to feel that it wasn't for me, and I started appreciating South Africa a bit more. But nevertheless, I actually had a 2-year visa, so I decided to stick it out. But after a few weeks of venturing into the UK, I had landed a job, so thereafter every weekend I used to travel in Europe. And I became quite bored and disgusted with the way of living and what the places had to offer. So thereafter, instead of traveling to Europe every single weekend, I started traveling or visiting different temples in England. And that's where my spiritual journey began. I had this kind of inquiry to find out something much more deeper in life. What is our purpose? And one day I was actually walking to my office, and downstairs at the entrance of the office building, I had met a Hare Krishna devotee. He was originally from Vietnam, and it was midwinter, but he was hugging onto Srila Prabhupada's books. And he spoke to me so wonderfully and humbly. I could see his sincerity in what he was doing. So I took a book. And I started reading the book. Just a few weeks after that, I was actually walking in central London. It was a Saturday evening, and I saw the Hare Krishna devotees chanting and having Harinam. And I was with a few friends from Australia and New Zealand. We were just kind of floating around, walking around London City. But the power of the holy name attracted me so much. And when I saw these young British boys and girls singing, dancing in ecstasy, and looking so blissful, I immediately told my friends, look, I'd like to go and experience this Harinam. And as I went down and I listened to the Harinam, the holy names of Krishna, for about 30 minutes, that kind of had a transformational effect on me. And I felt, okay, this is where I needed to be. I actually felt that this was home. So I returned to South Africa and I continued my spiritual quest. And I ended up at the Shri Shri Radharadhana temple. On that day, this was around 2009. And on that day, they were launching the Back to Godhead magazine marathon. And the temple was packed, absolutely packed. And there was no place to sit. So I was trying to scout around, trying to find a place to sit. And then I saw a small spot next to Srila Prabhupada. And as I sat next to Srila Prabhupada, my hairs started standing on end when a video clip was being played of Srila Prabhupada addressing a group of devotees and exhibiting the importance of Back to Godhead, the distribution of Back to Godhead magazine. And sitting next to Prabhupada, I just felt different. I felt that I was actually next to someone extra special and powerful. Because just prior to that, in my search, I had met many spiritual personalities from different organizations, but I could not feel anything special being in their presence. But coming to Sri Sri Radharadhanath and sitting next to Prabhupada and hearing Prabhupada speak on Back to Godhead, I immediately could feel a heart-to-heart feeling. I had a heart-to-heart feeling, and something happened within me where I knew, okay, I had met somebody or came in the presence of someone that is truly out of this world. And thereafter, I met some devotees and I had many questions, and the devotees dispelled all my doubts, and, or should I say, clarified all my doubts and answered all my questions so wonderfully that I knew, okay, I had found the institution, the Vedic teachings that I wanted to fully commit to, because I knew this process was really so sublime that it would lead me to spiritual perfection. So after Radharadhana temple, I came back to Johannesburg and visited the Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Hari temple. What was special about that is, at the time my mom had left her body, and every day I used to go and pray for her soul. But the warmth and the love that the devotees gave me was something I had never experienced before. They would welcome me. They would spend time talking to me in a very, very loving way. And they would give me Mahaprasadam, Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Hari's Mahaprasadam, every single day. And I used to take that, and I used to, as they advised me, I used to offer a little to my mom's photo and then take that and leave it outside for the birds. And I used to honor the rest of the prasadam. And honoring Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Hari's Mahaprasadam, I could actually feel a change in consciousness. And gradually I started chanting, came up to the point of chanting 16 rounds per day, started following the process, following the 4 regulated principles. Not that I didn't before, but this time it was with more conviction. So that was my initial journey into Krishna consciousness, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu.
That's so amazing, Dineshvara Prabhu. And What a journey it's been so far, from 2003 coming back to South Africa in 2009 and having this heart to heart with Prabhupada. And I was just thinking a few things here that we have this, we walk into the temple and we see this deity of Prabhupada, and especially when we go in for the first time, it's like we get these comments from so many different people and devotees is why isn't the Swami moving, And then you have to explain that no, it's actually a Murti form of the Swami, They can't believe it because it's so lifelike and it's so real, but Prabhupada is actually there and guiding until this day, guiding so many people to his lotus feet, So that's really interesting. And the other point I wanted to bring up was it's a big step, right? To just leave everything. We get frustrated in this world and thinking, oh, the grass will be actually greener on the other side. But the other day I heard such a brilliant example or analogy where it's like a little young boy who just received a balloon from his parents, and they're holding this balloon and the balloon is floating in the air and thinking, wow, this is just so amazing. I'm never ever gonna let go of the balloon. But then after some time, the hand starts paining, and you're thinking, what am I gonna do? My hand's paining, and this balloon wants to fly out. What should I do? What should I do? Oh, I know something. I'll tie the balloon to my wrist. And then you're thinking, oh, this is so beautiful. The balloon's tied to my wrist. It's not going anywhere. And it's really, really nice. But then after some time, your hand starts getting sore. You don't know what to do. And then somebody tells you, you just have to let this balloon go. And after some fighting with your mind and your heart and fighting it, no, I can't let it go. You finally let this balloon go, and then you see it floating in the air, and it just looks even more beautiful than it looked in your in your hand. And this is it, right? When we really, really let go of something, when we step into the unknown, that's when we see something more beautiful. Letting go of something, we see we get more, right? We may get a more shinier balloon, we may get a bigger balloon, a more fancy type of balloon, but it all comes when it takes that little bit of letting go. And this is what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. We just have to let it go. And speaking about the grass on the other is greener on the other side. Yeah, the grass may be greener on this other side, Dineshvara Prabhu, but don't you find that we have to keep on constantly be watering this grass as well in order to get
Absolutely.
in order to get the desired effect?
Absolutely. Um, I remember hearing something that His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj mentioned, that you will never be happy anywhere in the material world.
Mm-hmm.
And that really struck out to me, because it kind of took me back to when I was frustrated with material life, and I thought, okay, there has to be someplace better. But having gone abroad and experienced it, and later on when Maharaj had actually said this, it kind of resonated with me, and it made perfect sense, because, we're always trying to make this material world a permanent situation. We're always trying to better our material situation in terms of trying to be more comfortable. And we can see that through this pursuit, we will never be successful. And, as harder as we try, the more frustrated we become. And we see this in current day and age, current trends, where, something does not go right in terms of a specific country, and people are already trying to facilitate, okay, where can I situate myself better? Where can I be more comfortable? But as you were saying that, in Bhagavad Gita, for example, Lord Krishna is saying, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender and unto me. I shall take care of you. He's giving that guarantee, right? And he's giving that guarantee that he's going to protect you. So if you have the shelter of the Lord, if you surrender unto the Lord, wherever we are, we always know that we have this firm faith and conviction that the Lord is going to take care of us and protect us. So, having come into Krishna consciousness, you were mentioning about letting go. Many of us, do come from different backgrounds. Even if we kind of had some kind of connection to the Vedic culture even. But none of us knew that Lord Krishna, or a lot of us didn't know Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that was established clearly by Srila Prabhupada in his books and in his teachings. And, you have to have an open mind, because I think that, there's this beautiful analogy where in our heart, there's this tree. On one side, we are the soul. And on the other side is Lord Krishna as the super soul, Shirodakshaya Vishnu. And on this tree, there are these fruits, these allurements of the material world. But the minute you glance away and the super soul sees that you're not looking to enjoy this material world anymore, but we're glancing away, then the Lord knows, okay, this sincere soul is now looking for something else. He's actually looking for me. And the Lord makes the divine arrangement where we come in contact with his dear devotees. So certainly, the openness to something new is there. And I think what's also special is that, when someone tells you about following the process of Krishna consciousness, we could kind of theoretically accept that. But one thing that kind of struck out to me was that a devotee once told me that, how about, so I'm presenting this to you and I'm explaining to you how wonderful this is. You can attain spiritual perfection. You will be very, very blissful in life. It will help you to re-establish your eternal loving relationship with Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And you can come out of the cycle of birth and death. So many things the devotees presented to me. But what struck out to me was they also said, okay, try it for yourself and see. So now we are giving you the theoretical knowledge, but try it and give it a go and see if it's actually having a tangible effect in your life. And I have to say that starting to chant Hare Krishna, engaging in devotional service, I could see tangibly in my life what effect it was having, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu. I was becoming much more happier for the first time in my life. And, we speak about happiness because, we know the material world is a place of suffering. And if you ask somebody, and I've asked this question many a time during preaching programs when I'm giving the class or just presenting certain aspects of Krishna consciousness, the first question I would ask somebody is that, okay, what do you all want in life? Can you please highlight or share with me one particular word? And do you know what word comes to mind or what's presented to me, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu? Would you like to try?
Happiness?
Absolutely. Everyone wants to be happy. That's the crux of, everyone's kind of hankering. But actually, the diametrical opposing word to suffering is not happiness. It's actually bliss. And bliss exists only in the spiritual world. But if we engage in devotional service while we're on the planet, we can actually experience bliss, which is a far beyond experience than happiness. So for me, definitely starting to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra And just prior to that, I used to chant many, many mantras, and it was very wonderful. But starting to chant Hare Krishna, I started experiencing the bliss. And that to me was something that I could immediately detect that was different from this mantra to the rest of the mantras. And obviously, engaging in devotional service and associating with the devotees was something I had never experienced before. And certainly honoring prasadam, because I'm not a born vegetarian. And my thing was venturing into vegetarianism. What will I eat? It was the normal Tuesday or Monday and Tuesday fast that I was used to. And the variety was very, very limited. But coming into Krishna consciousness and seeing the variety of different vegetarian options was something that I couldn't comprehend at the time. And I was awestruck, but I very much appreciated it. And that gave me the confidence that I could do it. Okay, there's a huge variety of vegetarian preparations on offer. And what to speak of these preparations offered to the Lord and honoring prasadam, which is giving you that higher taste. So certainly what we have to do is we need to, with resolute determination, endeavor, we need to water the seeds. And Srila Prabhupada on many occasions mentioned that the importance of following the process properly. That is, coming to the point of chanting 16 rounds per day, but following the 4 regulated principles where you become free from sinful activity and leading a sinful life, associating with devotees. And Prabhupada gave us 5 main aspects, out of the 64 processes of devotional service, but 5 specifically where we chant the holy names of the Lord, associate with the devotees, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and we worship the deity and reside in a holy dham. But what's so special about our ISKCON movement is that, it is said that Vrindavan, Sridham Mayapur, and Jagannath Puri are extensions of the spiritual sky. But His Holiness Parthasarati Das Goswami Maharaj mentioned on one occasion in a class that so are our ISKCON temples, they're all extensions. So, we got this perception that, okay, we have to reside in Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri, or Sridham Mayapur, but also visiting our ISKCON temples is the same. So I thought that's very, very special. And so we have all the ingredients to really make wonderful spiritual advancement in this life, all due to the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And I think what's vitally important is that we have to regularly visit the temples and we have to associate with the devotees because they keep us on track to constantly water the seed, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu.
Yes, wow, that's a lot to take in, but I was just thinking now, and I try to hear as much as possible and read as much as possible in the day as Prabhupada recommended. And just the other day, in preparation for Srila Bhakti Siddhanta's 150-year anniversary that's coming up now, I read something the way he got 3 instructions from his spiritual master, right? And I'll just speak about one of it. One was that please do not go to Calcutta. So what does Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur say? That I never ever went to Calcutta. Because when I went to Calcutta, I stayed in the Bagh Bazaar temple, and that wasn't Calcutta. That was the spiritual world. So just on your point that yes, Prabhupada also he created this wonderful institution. He created this wonderful movement, and he just created a little embassies of the spiritual world all around, right? That it's just this avenue where we can reach the spiritual world through this wonderful and transcendental movement. So thank you for that. And then also when we really go beyond that's when we really meet Krishna. Like Prabhupada didn't really want to take sannyas, but then he had a dream, and in this dream, he had this dream of his spiritual master offering him sannyas, and Prabhupada said it was ghastly, ghastly. but he went into the unknown. Then he got this passage on the Jaladuta steamship from Calcutta to to Boston Harbor, and it was really struggling. You know, he had two heart attacks, motion sickness, etc. And yet it was a cargo ship, not even a passenger ship. He steps into the unknown, and then from there he goes and he's in Butler, Pennsylvania, and there he sees it's really not happening. It's a bit quiet. So then he goes to New York City, and there in New York City, he uh, he goes and he stays in at Dr. Mishra's ashram in the upper side of New York. And he said, no, this is not the place. Then he goes again, steps into the unknown, goes into the lower east side of New York. The lower east side, really, really degraded place, but Prabhupada goes there. And this is what happens when the devotee steps into the unknown. Then he meets Krishna on the other side, meeting Krishna on the other side. But we have to get out of our comfort zone. So, Dineshvara Prabhu, you've come out of your comfort zone. You've been going and doing these outreach programs in the Joburg North area, the community. You've been running a Namahata. Then you have this big service of running the Bhakti Yoga Society on the various campuses in Johannesburg. So you want to tell us a little bit of these activities, starting with the university programs?
Yes, Prabhu, I think to just set the tone, I think it's vitally important for us to understand Prabhupada's mood and mission.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as, our Krishna consciousness and our own practice of Krishna consciousness, our sadhana, whatever services we do, is vitally important for us to make rapid or good spiritual advancement. But what is also vitally important is for us to distribute that. Because as you practice Krishna consciousness, you begin to realize more and more how fortunate you are. And when you begin to realize this, and then you see the suffering condition of all the other living entities around the world, then naturally you want to distribute that. That's why Srila Prabhupada has given us the process where 50% is our own Krishna consciousness, but 50% is the distribution of Krishna consciousness. And just to set the tone, in the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada mentions that when Lord Ramachandra was on the planet, there was no untimely death, there was no disease, no shortage of food. Everyone was God conscious and extremely peaceful. And Srila Prabhupada mentions that actually, if we can propagate this Krishna consciousness movement, and if everyone becomes Krishna conscious, then the situation in this world can become just like when Lord Rama was on the planet. Now, if we kind of just take a moment to just digest that, what does it sound like? It sounds like the spiritual world, doesn't it? So, there's so many things that we see going on in the world today. Actually, the world is in a very precarious situation. So doesn't this give you the kind of comfort that if we can go out and spread Krishna consciousness, this is what we can create? And it will be very pleasing to our spiritual masters, to Srila Prabhupada and to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, having been absorbed in really reading the Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita and seeing how Srila Prabhupada just spread this mission so inconceivably, I was inspired to start a few projects, and we'll start with the first one, which is the BYS at the universities. One thing you have to understand is that the spirit of this movement is the youth. They have the energy, they have the health, they have the intelligence. So in 2013, I decided, okay, I'm going to somehow or the other start the BYS Society at the University of Johannesburg. At that time, there was programs being conducted at the DFC Donfontein campus. So UJ has 5 campuses, total 55,000 students. But being inspired by the devotees there running that program, I used to attend regularly, and I also used to attend the WITS BYS program, which was really successful. Many devotees came from that program. So I felt inspired that, okay, I should do something as well. And that was kind of also an instruction, or that was an instruction also that was given by my spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj, to go out and preach, especially to the youth. So I started the BYS at the UJ APK campus in 2013. But what I tried to do was, I tried to run the program at a few different campuses, and I was not successful. Firstly, it was something new to me, so I tried to find my feet, trying to see how I can present Krishna consciousness, but in a way that would be attractive to the youth. And I wouldn't say I was successful, because I started the program, I was one Friday at one campus, then I tried to drive to the other campus once I concluded the program. So it was not professional, it was not organized. And then the other thing was I wasn't consistent. But, through experience, and as I became a bit more mature, a bit more organized, the determination was still there, because when I embark on something, I like to try and give it my best, and I didn't want to give up. So through the constant pursuit, in 2019, finally the program started gaining some traction. We had registered about 1,500 students. We were getting about 80 to 90 students at the Friday program. And her Grace Sharna Gati also had joined campus as well. She started studying on campus. So I didn't feel alone. There was another devotee there, kind of inspiring and encouraging me, and I was trying to do the same. And we started presenting Krishna consciousness very nicely at the university. And I just would like to correct something. It wasn't 2019, it was 2020. So we had about 3 or 4 really wonderful programs, wonderfully attended. And then thereafter, we went into COVID lockdown. So we shifted the program online. We didn't have the attendance that we had physically or in person. But we continued, and then during the year, obviously, we still was in a very, very precarious and uncertain situation. But when things opened up, we had a retreat, and we had about 30 to 35 students attend the retreat, which was really wonderful. And in year 2021, we continued with the program. But it really gained tremendous traction again in year 2022. We had signed up about 2,500 students. We started from the outset as soon as campus opened up in February. And by that time, we had a bit more resources as well. So the program was an hour, 10 minutes. We would start with a bit of yoga, some breathing exercises. Then we would give a talk, initially quite subtly, on positive thinking, stress management, transformation of the heart. So topics that would kind of resonate with people, with the youth, because we know the youth goes through so much peer pressure, the demands in terms of making sure that you're coming to university, but you have to pass. And also the financial constraints that one has. A lot of the students sometimes didn't have any food. So us presenting Krishna consciousness in this way, speaking about topics that resonated with them, but also the topics were related to Vedic culture. It wasn't just stress management, but speaking about all types of things. It was kind of dovetailed towards Vedic culture, Krishna consciousness concepts. And then thereafter, we would have kirtan, chanting of the congregational chanting of the holy names. and then a super feast. And the feast entails your pasta, your soya chicken Jillian burgers, and hakka noodles. So things that, youth and people in general like, because, if we're telling people to become vegetarian, we have to show them how nice vegetarianism is.
So, Dineshvara Prabhu, I've heard that just by going out of the door, that's success as well, But you were saying you weren't organized and things like that, but I think that was just your humility and your sincerity. But really, Krishna has been guiding you to attract so many people. Just imagine, not even imagine, it's a fact that 2,500 students were signed up in 2022. When I was on campus and I would see these devotees in their pink robes coming in with some bird droppings on their forehead, I would run the other direction. I was starting to become a devotee, but at the same time, it was that prasad, that pasta, that homemade bread that was just so tantalizing that slowly it allowed me to sneak in through the back door at the very end just to get the prasad. We saw Steve Jobs also, his life story, going to university, but then went to the Hare Krishnas to get his meal because it's just so captivating. So tell us more on this, on how you plan to attract the students with prasad.
Thank you, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu. So, just before I elaborate further on the UJBYS, I just would like to share one specific quote from Srila Prabhupada, which was a correspondence in 1971 to Bhagavan, 16 February 1971, where Srila Prabhupada mentions preaching in schools, colleges, and universities, along with distribution of our books and prasadam, will flourish the propaganda of our mission.
Mm-hmm.
So here we see Srila Prabhupada, giving us that direct instruction and how, if we really endeavor in this specific project, what are the results that it will actually flourish the mission, right? So yes, regarding prasadam, we know it's one of our secret weapons. But just to continue from what I was saying, in 2022, when we had signed up 2,500 students as members, so our turnout was about 100 students at the programs. Because we have to understand as well that sometimes students have classes to attend, lectures, or they have some type of assignments to attend to, group assignments. So they may not be able to come all the time. So this kind of did kind of pose one specific challenge, because we are only allowed to have the programs on Fridays, and the university has something called the culture period, which takes place from 12 p.m. to 1:10 p.m. So this is one kind of challenge that we do have. But nevertheless, we have to still continue with whatever is available and accessible to us. So we had many wonderful speakers and devotees attend. And if I could just mention a few, we had some devotees coming from our ISKCON temples, some brahmacharis. I gave talks as well. But I have to also mention that Her Grace Sharanagati Mataji was very, very helpful and instrumental in terms of assisting with the programs. And the two of us really tried to drive this particular preaching program. In the year 2023, we knew we had to do something even more special, because you want to do more and more, you want to grow, you want to present Krishna consciousness even better. Because Srila Prabhupada emphasized many a time where he said that we have to present Krishna consciousness in a first-class way. Everything must be perfect. So in 2023, we grew the program. Actually, I wanted to just stop here and mention that in 2022, Gaur Purnima, I want to mention one specific program where His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami Maharaj attended, came and gave the class, and led one of the most electrifying kirtans I have ever heard and experienced. It was on Gaur Purnima. We had so many students attend that program. And one thing I appreciated about Maharaj is that, you know, he had the ability to connect with people and attract them in a way that no one else, or not many devotees or people that present, could do. He somehow knew what to say. Just his mood, the way he spoke, was very, very attractive. And, you know, he always kind of listened to the person in charge of the program as to see where the people are at that particular time and moment. Because, you know, we can go into a program and just speak off the cuff or say what we want to say. But he just took that time to kind of check in with the person leading that specific program. Okay, what should I speak on? You know, where are these students and people at in terms of hearing about Krishna consciousness? And that I very much appreciated. So his presentation on that specific day was so perfect that it was the first time ever that students asked questions after a talk. Normally we would just give a talk and thereafter move into the kirtan, but that was kind of the birth or inauguration, you could say, of something even more special, because students started asking questions. They were becoming more and more interested. And then thereafter, the ecstatic kirtan, I think, according to Harinamananda Prabhu, made its mark around the world. Students were just dancing in ecstasy, and they started chanting. And Maharaj, I heard, made the comment that it was, in all his life, it was the best university program he had attended throughout the world. So I think that was due to his kind of mercy and the association he gave to the students on that particular day. And
That's
Maharaj
true.
also
That's
mentioned
true.
that,
I got some good fortune to drive him that day, and as soon as we got into the car, he said that was the best program ever, best university program ever, and he said Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Yeah, since it was Gopunim.
Chai. So Prabhu, yeah, we've had His Holiness Ram Govinda Maharaj also come, and we had a fantastic program. His Holiness Bhagavad Brihad, Bhagavat Swami, His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj. We've had many of our local devotees as well speak. So these students have been really fortunate because they've gotten the association of very exalted personalities. So year 2023, due to us persevering and really trying to grow the program, then we grew to 3,000 students as members of the society, and our programs grew even more. We started getting more than 100 students. And I want to share at this point in time some of the comments that students shared with me attending Bhakti Yoga Society. So I'll share one and share one more a bit later. So, on campus, everyone calls me Mr. D. That's just a very, very easy name for them to address me as. So this one student, Nonklesh, shares that, Mr. D, I would like to thank you for an enriching 7 months I have spent with the Bhakti Yoga Society. Words cannot express my gratitude, but your teachings will live rent-free in my mind. And by actually sharing them with other people, I hope I can also do my bit in changing the world. You got us through challenging weeks. Your work certainly changed lives of many students, and the scrumptious food was a finger-licking bonus, and for that, I thank you. So that's one student sharing what kind of impact Bhakti Yoga Society had on her particular life. And I'd like to just, I think, maybe share one more. So there was a student who was in a very, very devastating stage in her life. Her mom wasn't well, and she was just kind of floating and walking through campus, and she was praying to God. That's what she told me. She was praying to God for her mom's health, and she's young. She was only 18 years at the time, so she really needed some type of solace and a sense of belonging. And as she was walking through campus, she was praying to God, and she had her eyes closed. And she said internally, God, now when I open my eyes, please give me the answer to my problem. And when she opened her eyes, she was standing in front of us. She had come to the Bhakti Yoga Society. And at that point in time, we were just about to go into the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, the Hare Krishna mantra. And she came and sat with us. She chanted. And I'm happy to share that as we stand just maybe about a year later, she's now regularly chanting Hare Krishna mantra a few rounds a day. She's engaged in devotional service. She's a vegetarian. She started reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. So here we can see the importance of us regularly having programs at different places, because a lot of people are searching, a lot of people are looking for Krishna. And we have to be able to be in a situation where we can facilitate and be there for them when they really need us. So Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, if I can share with you some miracles. Now when I go to campus and I'm recruiting students, before it was such an endeavor. There were so many obstacles, but gradually over time, I have seen the Lord's mercy, the Lord's and Prabhupada's mercy. I've seen his miracles where now when I get to campus, everything has become so easy. Students just automatically come and they want to sign on to the program. They invite their friends. They attend regularly. They have embraced what we have presented to them. And to kind of put this in perspective, we were thinking about, doing something even more special with the students. Let's kind of reward them, because we have to understand that at these specific universities, 99% of the students have never come across Vedic culture or Krishna consciousness before. So they're all coming from different backgrounds, caste, creeds, etc. So for them to kind of come and accept what we're presenting, you were mentioning before, one has to be open. And these students, for them to just open up and embrace a new culture, a new kind of spiritual presentation is not easy. So them coming, attending regularly and accepting what we were presenting is something really phenomenal. And to kind of reward them for this, we started last year, or we presented last year, the mindfulness course, which was the last 5 weeks of the year, calendar or academic year, should I say, where something extra special happened, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada arranged that our program would basically grow 3 or 4-fold. So we ended up having about 250 to 300 students attend every single Friday the mindfulness course. They were all tuned in. They were all so excited. They all regularly chanted. They all regularly accepted the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. They honored the prasadam, which they thoroughly enjoyed. And on the last day, we had a graduation ceremony. It was also presented by His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj, who was present. Maharaj gave the talk. And something amazing happened where on that specific day, even the director of UJ attended. Her name is Irina Jabrain. She came with her staff. And through that powerful association and honoring of the prasadam, she contacted me last year and she said, Dinesh, because everyone knows me as Dinesh or Mr. D, she said, from next year, 2024, I am going to be attending your programs, and I'm going to bring all my staff along as well. So, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, we can see that if we just continue, have faith in Srila Prabhupada and the Lord, and if we endeavor sincerely, I personally cannot take any credit for all the incredible things that's happening at the university, but I'm just trying to follow the instructions of my spiritual master and just sincerely have faith in him, in Srila Prabhupada and the Lord, and just endeavoring, because we have to understand something vitally important, that we are just merely the instruments, and everything that's happening is by the divine arrangement of Krishna. So when we kind of approach any specific service, we have to always remember this. And we also have to always remember that whatever we are doing, we are simply doing for the pleasure of the Lord. And when we do that, I have seen that the Lord, he actually makes wonderful plans and arrangements. So now we are in year 2024. We've had a great start building upon all those members that we had last year. We've gone 2 days now. We've gotten another 300 already. Campus hasn't really started as yet. But my thought process was, this specific week, all the first years are attending. So let's get the first years before anyone else gets them to kind of join their programs. Bhakti Yoga Society at UJ is the most prominent. I've seen actually over the course of the last few years that societies start but fizzle out very, very quickly. But because we have been consistent and professional in our presentation, that people have realized actually this is where they want to be, at Bhakti Yoga Society. So, Prabhu, that's kind of a bit of insight regarding UJBYS.
Well, thank you for that, Dineshvara Prabhu. And I'm just so much of awe of the hard work that you and your team are doing in these universities, that I think one of your students gave you a good tagline here, right? Finger licking bonus, that can be our tagline, just to attract people, so we can attract their consciousness and give them something different to think about in this life, that hey, there's much more than material life, but we have something of substance, we have something spiritual that we can all work towards to, and make our way back home to God and in this life. So this is really the way where we can eradicate suffering. So I'm really happy to hear of all of this, your activities on the at the UJ campus, your BYS society at the UJ campus, and just once again, thank you so much for sharing this. If our listeners are out there listening to this and thinking, wow, these are really um really good programs where we can get involved, but oh, I'm so busy with my work, my studies, my family, it's difficult for me to go out there. As Prabhupada said, 50% of Krishna consciousness is our own, and as you quoted, 50% is giving it out, but I cannot do help with giving it out. So how can I help programs like this? How can we help you, Dineshwar Prabhu, to to give out that other 50%?
Well, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, if anyone can join us for the programs, for one to get inspired, I shared a little about the programs and gave some insight. I remember His Grace Dwarkadish Prabhu, who was kind of seeing pictures of the program, and he was hearing about it. He used to ask me about it, and I should kind of share with, or I shared with him kind of what I could. But he felt inspired one day to come and actually experience it. And when he came, he said it was a different experience and it was a different dimension to actually be there in person. And, that was kind of inspiring to him, where he's considering himself now to start his own BYS program, because he got the inspiration from that, And So I can actually kind of kindly request devotees and friends to please come attend the programs. We understand that actually it's a Friday, it's a lot of people are working, but if you'd like to take a half day off, come and join us, experience it, come and help us, because now that it's grown to such an extent in terms of the numbers, we need some manpower. And especially when it comes to facilitating the program, serving the prasadam, because let's be honest, 250, 300 people is like a temple festival, right, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu?
That's the same amount
And
we get for our festivals. That's right.
yes, so and this year we're hoping to grow that to 500 students attending the weekly program. So we need manpower. Uh, Financial support is always welcome because we kind of self-funded. Let's just put it that way. So if you'd like to contribute towards the program, you can contact Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu or contact myself. So that's the support that we need at this stage. We begin programs on the 23rd of February. And this year, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, something super exciting. Now that we've got a lot of students chanting and they're used to honoring prasadam and engaging in some type of service, so we thought, let's take them deeper. So we're going to be doing a 12-week course on the Science of Self-Realization book by Srila Prabhupada, where it's going to be a systematic study of the science of self-realization. We're going to also offer them the advanced mindfulness course certificate. And having a discussion with you this morning, we will also give them a diploma from our ISKCON Santon Temple side in the science of self-realization. So it's just an exciting time. We look forward to many wonderful guests, and we are hopeful that you'll also join us more regularly on campus. So those are some of the kind of things happening this particular year 2024. And we are hoping that we can also bring a lot of the students to the Santon Rath Yatra Festival sometime in May. So just sharing some future plans. Can I just share one or two more things on the UJ program, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, quickly before we round up?
Yeah, please do. I was just thinking that this is the only diploma that one needs, right? The diploma on the science of self-realization, You go that and you can walk into any workplace because you have your diploma on the most important course in this world. Please go ahead, Prabhu, and share with us.
Absolutely. And if I can just share with the listeners, we have no idea what it actually means to these students. A lot of them, I do a lot of counseling. To be honest with you, the service has many, many requirements. And, you've got to be a friend to the students. You've got to give them the love. You've got to be kind to them. You have to support them. Because many of them have many difficulties in life, whether it be financial. They come from broken families. Some of them have no families. They're all looking for a sense of belonging. And somehow, we become like parental figures as well to these students. So if I can share now at this point in time, some of the kind of feedback or comments from the students. I shared two already, but I just want to share one or two more.
Please do, Prabhu. I'm so eager to hear this. It's so inspiring and enlivening, and it's giving me so much of life. So please share with us.
Okay, student one. I felt welcomed and at home. I experienced a feeling of community and togetherness. The coordinators never failed to make everyone understand the purpose of being mindful or being in the moment. As Mr. Dinesh would repeatedly say, there are so many lessons from those weekly Friday gatherings. They were my escape from my mental suffering. I constantly do the mantra meditation to feel calm and in control of my emotions. The countless lessons about the spiritual awakening in this course or program have helped me through the semester since I joined. People who came shared their stories about the Bhakti Yoga Society. That inspired me to pursue personal bliss through connecting with my soul. and being one with my mind by putting all the knowledge into action in my personal space. The knowledge I received from the presentations contributed to my understanding of benefits I could rip off if I ever became mindful. And to share with everyone just the benefits of the students chanting and embracing Krishna consciousness, let's look at some material benefits, if you can call it so. This is what students said. I can study better, and this resulted in me getting better results. Plus, I have a healthier body and lifestyle. Another student, I genuinely enjoyed coming to the sessions, and I have learned a few things about myself. We were speaking earlier, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, now about the science of self-realization, the journey of self-discovery. Here the student is now mentioning this. And just to continue with what they said, and I have learned ways to calm down because I am quite a reactful person. It is a calming experience. Every time I enter that hall, the atmosphere allows for one to just relax and listen to what is being taught. The teachings definitely did not go in vain. Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, this is just a few from hundreds that I've received of kind of feedback from the student. And I just want to conclude by saying, from the survey that I ran with the students after last year, do you know, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, what was the highest percentage in terms of topic that the students want to learn? You'd like to take a guess?
Happiness?
Okay, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. So maybe I should have actually just given you the topics. So this is what we asked the students to tell us. Please, what would you like the most to hear this year or experience? The topics were mindfulness, life coaching, leadership, the science of self-realization, achieving peace and happiness, stress management, yoga, and then we put other. Mm-hmm. So you'd like to give it another go, Prabhu?
The SSR did?
Yes. So 95% of the students gave the science of self-realization the highest rating. So I thought that was quite incredible. And the second was also they would like to do more of the mantra meditation. So yeah, we can see if we kind of very intelligent and strategic in terms of how we initially present Krishna consciousness. And as one starts chanting the holy name and they start getting a bit of the taste, everything happens automatically, right, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu? Mm-hmm. Like Srila Prabhupada in the early days, he just asked everyone to chant and he gave them prasadam, right? Mm-hmm. And then the magic happened. So now we taking them deeper into the philosophy. So I'll conclude in terms of the BOIS preaching at UJ. If you'd like to speak on a few minutes about the Namahata, we can share a few words.
So Dineshvara Prabhu, I think it's been really enlivening, but I think because of your depth of Krishna consciousness and your experience out there in the field, let's leave that for another whole session so we can give it its proper attention as well. So what do you think of that?
Very happy to do that, Prabhu. I just like to thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit of what we're trying to do out there to make a change in society and very importantly, spread Krishna consciousness. So thank you for your time. Thank you for the opportunity. And I hope that your listeners were able to get a little more insight in terms of this program, this project, and also get inspired to actually start a project on their own. Mm-hmm. And if we can actually, a very important word comes to mind is absorption. Is if we take on a project and we completely absorbed, because the conclusion of the Vedas is always remember Krishna and never forget him. Is that correct, Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, Prabhu.
So one thing I can tell everybody, we want to come to the point where we're always thinking about Krishna and we need to be absorbed. So absorption is vitally important here. And if we take on a project and we completely absorbed and focused in terms of trying to do something wonderful to propagate the movement and present and spread Krishna consciousness, I can tell everybody that when we take on a project and we completely absorb ourselves in terms of the different dynamics, the logistics, the presentations, what we're going to speak about, how we're going to engage with people, it's fully Krishna conscious. And it has helped me actually to become more Krishna conscious because I'm thinking about Krishna more and more and how I'm going to please him. So
and it's also helping let go of that balloon, right?
Exactly.
The
You gave
balloon.
the perfect analogy. Thank you for that.
Well, Dineshvara Prabhu, I am just so grateful to you and for you for sharing your heart today on something that is really close to you and sharing it with all of us. I hope and I pray to that it's been some service to our listeners, especially that it will inspire them to get more absorbed in taking up some preaching projects. So thank you, Dineshvara Prabhu. But we're not gonna let you go off that easy. We have some quick fire questions, and if you're happy to participate, I'll go ahead.
I will try. It's certainly
Quick
a
fire, right?
surprise. Okay.
Yeah, it is a
I
surprise. So,
okay.
your favorite type of prasad?
I would have to say Italian.
Italian, okay. Your favorite book?
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Any particular canto? You quoted the ninth canto earlier, but anything that's you really love?
You know, I'll be honest with you. The Dhruva Maharaj pastime is something that I read regularly because
Okay.
it helps me to actually keep focused in terms of my sadhana and also my determination to see the Lord face to face one day.
Wow. Oh,
So
thank
that's the
you.
fourth canto of the
The fourth
Srimad
canto,
Bhagavatam.
fourth canto of the Bhagavatam, yes. Oh, that's
Yes.
nice. But remember what I said earlier of going into the unknown, then the devotee meets Krishna on the other side. So I'm sure you're meeting Krishna on that other side when you're going into all these unknown places of university and these different community development programs that you have. So thank you. Um, favorite pastime, we can say it's the Dhruva pastime, but favorite kirtan.
His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami Maharaj.
Any particular one?
Kirtaniya.
The one in
Uh,
the one at UJ campus in Gorpuni?
it's it's definitely a standard one, but I want to at this point actually be more specific. That was special, no doubt. It will live with me forever. It will live with you forever, and it will live with everyone that was present forever.
And
So,
Rath Yatra, the Santal Rath Yatra.
so there is a kirtan that I listen to before I start chanting my rounds every morning. It sets the tone for kind of my mood. So if you Google His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami Maharaj Melodious Kirtan, it was in Vrindavan. That particular kirtan to me is the most special because it's very meditative, and Maharaj's kind of absorption in that kirtan, not that, he's not absorbed in his kirtans, but to me that just kind of has a deeper heart-to-heart connection. So that's my favorite kirtan.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dineshvara Prabhu. And last one, favorite movie?
Abhay Charan.
Abhay Charan. Wow. Okay. You're very Krishna conscious, bro. But yeah, that's nice as well. And Bhakti Charu Maharaj put his heart and soul into that production as well. Engaging so many devotees, traveling to so many different locations, and then getting involved in the production and the distribution. So yeah, it is one of the most important movies, the life of Srila Prabhupada and how he came to save us. Dineshwar Prabhu, once again, thank you so much for all of your service and your inspiration today, for enlivening us. And I'm hoping that this inspires our listeners to go out there and do something for Prabhupada's mission as well. Get fully absorbed in this mission of Srila Prabhupada. Once again, Dineshvara Prabhu, thank you and Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the opportunity, Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories
Hare
to
Krishna.
Prabhupada and his devotees. Hare Krishna.